यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः
यज्ञचाचरति श्रेष्ठः
तत्तदेवेतरो जनः।
तददेवेतरो जनः।
तदेवेतरो जनः।
तत्तद्देवेतरो जनः।
स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते
स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते
लोकस्तदनुवर्तते।
लोकस्तदनुवर्तते।
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः।
यद्यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठः तदेवेतरो जनः।
स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते।
स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते।
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः। स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते।
यद्यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठः तद्देवेतरो जनः। स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते।
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम्
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम्
त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन
त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन
नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम्
नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम्
वर्त एव च कर्मणि।
वर्त एव च कर्मणि।
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम् त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम् त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन
नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम् वर्त एव च कर्मणि।
नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम् वर्त एव च कर्मणि।
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम् त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम् वर्त एव च कर्मणि।
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम् त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम् वर्त एव च कर्मणि।
यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयम्
यदि ह्ययं न वर्तेयम्
जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः
जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः।
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः।
यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः
यदि ह्ययं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः।
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः।
यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः।
यदि ह्ययं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतीन्द्रतः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः।
Two slight errors. Hyaham, yayam na hyaham.
Yeah,
Yadi hi
yes.
aham. So
Oh, yes,
yadi
yeah,
hyaham and
yeah. Hi,
karmanya tandritaha.
Kamyatandrita. Yeah. यदि
Yadi.
ह्ययं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः।
Okay. Utsideyurime lokaha
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः
na kuryam karma chedaham
न कुर्याम् कर्म चेदहम्
शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम्
शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम्
उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः
उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्याम् कर्म चेदहम्
उत्सीदे युरिमे लोका न कुर्याम् कर्म चेदहम्
शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः
शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः.
So when visarga, that ha is followed by a pa, so it changes. The visarga is not pronounced as ha anymore, but it becomes a fa. So upahanyami ma prajaha.
Mah prajaha. Okay.
Okay. Saktah karmanya vidvamso
Sakta karmanya vidvamso
yatha kurvanti bharata
yatha kurvanti bharata
kuryad vidvamstatha saktah
kuryad vidvamsat saktaha
कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः
kuryad vidvamstatha saktaha
चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
shikisho sho
चिकीर्षुर्
shikishu
चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
सक्ताः कर्मण्यविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत
सक्ता कर्मण्यविद्वंसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत.
विद्वांसो न विद्वांसो
विद्वांसो
कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षो लोकसङ्ग्रहम्.
सक्ताः कर्मण्यविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत
सक्ता
कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
सक्ता कर्मण्यविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तश्चः. Sorry.
सुकुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः
कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा शक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्.
If you were to combine them, it becomes cha, but that will come as Kuryad Vidvam Sata Saktaschikir Shurloka Sangraham. It becomes a little difficult to pronounce. So we are breaking it. Kuryad Vidvam Sata Saktaha. Because that is actually a Visarga and it got transformed into a Sha. So Kuryad Vidvam Sata Saktaha Chikir Shurloka Sangraham.
कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा शक्तः चिकीर्षो लोकसङ्ग्रहम्.
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत्
अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां
अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां
जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि
जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि.
विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनाम्.
जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि
गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा
अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा
कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
अहङ्काराविमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा मिथ्या कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो
गुणकर्मविभागयोः
गुणकर्मविभागयोः
गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त
गुणा वर्तन्त गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्त
इति मत्वा न सज्जते
इति मत्वा न सज्जते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः
गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते
गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते
प्रकृतेः सो प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः
सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु
सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु
तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान्
तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान्
कृत्स्नभिन्न विचालयेत्
कृत्स्नभिन्न विचालयेत्
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु
तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नभिन्न विचालयेत्
तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नभिन्न विचालयेत्
Kritsna, not Krishna, Kritsna. This is different. Kritsna means kind of all pervasive or everywhere. So Prakritir guna sammudhaha sajjante guna karmasu tana kritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet.
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् अकृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नभिन्न विचालयेत्
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि
सन्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा
सन्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा
निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा
निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा
युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
युध्यस्य विगतज्वरः
युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
विध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा
निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मविचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
Okay, thank you. So, last class we have completed up to 20th shloka, and today we will do shlokas from 21 to 30. So far, what have we covered in Bhagavad Gita? The first adhyaya is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. When Arjuna is quite worried, laments that he has to fight his own family members, and he is disillusioned and dejected. And in Sankhya Yoga, which is the second chapter, Krishna starts teaching him about the Atma Vidya, the way everyone is the same, and everyone has been there in the past and everyone will be there in future. And then Atma is indestructible, and it cannot be changed and modified, and it moves from one body to the other, just like how we shed old clothes and wear new clothes. So does Atma. It lets go of the old Sharira and then moves on to a new Sharira. And then thereafter, he also teaches about Swadharma, about his Kshatriya Dharma. And then he also teaches about Sthita Prajnata, how to be steadfast in his mind and maintain equanimity in emotions, irrespective of the situation. And then he also talks about Nishkama Karma. And Nishkama Karma is nothing but offering ourselves to performing duties without any attachment to the results, or to be thinking that I am the reason why this action had originated, or I am the one who has started it. So, having taught all that in the third chapter that we are right now in, um, Arjuna starts off asking, Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi Keshava. Krishna, if you think that having the knowledge of Atman and having the knowledge and reaching divinity through knowledge is actually a better deal, why would you make me do these dastardly things which are only going to be leading to a lot of destruction, and it's papa. It is actually sinful to kill people. Why would you make me do these things? And then he says, Lokesmin vividhanishta pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. Look, in this loka, I have previously taught jnana, reaching divinity through jnana, and also reaching divinity through actions. So both have been taught, and then he further goes on to say that there isn't anything to say that only one of these paths is is a better path and not the other one, and both have to be practiced in their own place. Then he talks about how karma has to be followed. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajyayah hi akarmanah shirira yatra apichate na prasidyet न प्रसिद्ध्येत् इति शरीरयात्रा अपि च न प्रसिद्ध्येत् अकर्मणः. So he says, niyatam kuru karma tvam. Always make sure that you perform action, because doing action is actually much better than not doing any action. The reason for that is, even the Sharira, it has its own biological needs and actions. Even those are actions which cannot be fulfilled if you resort to inaction. Why would somebody be tempted to do inaction? Because if you are actually committing action and action has its own results, and then you are saying don't be attached to the result, why bother? I won't do anything. So you can't say so. You have to be doing your actions, and for that he then teaches what is called as yajna. And yajna is has been put forward along with at the time of creation of humankind. When humans have been created, at the same time yajna has also been created along with them, the concept itself. And therefore humans have to conduct themselves in the form of their actions in the form of yajna. So what is a yajna? Anything that is conducted, an action with sincerity and utmost sacrifice, ensuring that there is a comprehensive collaborative approach between humans and the celestials. So he says that Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyata. Make sure that through yajna, the gods or the devatas are kind of respected, or they are nourished, because your nourishment is actually important for them. You need to nourish them, and they will also take care of you and nourish you through various kind of resources that they will provide. And those resources can be in the form of rain, food, abundant health, it could be wealth, whatever it may be required for a definite dharmic way of material living. And that is required for the world to sustain. So the world sustains through this process of symbiosis, where you nourish the devatas, devatas nourish you. They need you as much as you need them. So both have to happen. However, if you keep on eating the resources and do not actually pay respect to them or don't nourish them, then you are nothing but a thief. So that shouldn't happen. And then he further explains how this the cycle of sustenance is maintained. Annad bhavanti parjanyah parjanyat anna sambhava. Annad bhavati bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavah. Yajnat bhavati parjanyah yajnah karma samudbhavah. And then karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishthitam. So these slokas we looked at in the last class. Basically, Annad bhavanti bhutani, from the food and the nourishment are the pranis created. They come alive. Annad bhavanti bhutani. Parjanyat anna sambhavaha. And from the rains, the food arises. The rain is required for food to be produced. Yajnat bhavati parjanyah. And through yajnas, through our kind of sincere actions and respectful actions towards the devatas, rains are provided. Yajnat bhavati parjanyah parjanyat anna sambhavaha. So the cycle goes on. So the rain then gives the food and Food is taken care of because, sorry, rain provides food. Rain is provided, rain occurs when you actually conduct your yajna. And then the next sloka goes on to explain how yajna is nothing but what has been proclaimed through the Veda. And how does the proclamation of Veda arise? Vedas themselves have been the word or the cosmic word of the Paramatma itself. So therefore, whatever yajna you do actually goes to Paramatma itself. Although you are actually doing it for the Devatas, it actually goes to Paramatma. So अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यात् अन्नसम्भवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्य यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भव यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भव through your actions is yajna. Then karma brahma udbhavam vidhi. Karma is nothing but brahma udbhavam. Whatever has been kind of proclaimed as duties to be conducted by the Vedas, that has to be done. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahma akshara samudbhavam. That Veda comes from the akshara parabrahma. The akshara is nothing but the one who does not cease to exist, does not age. That kind of parabrahman is the one who gave rise to the Vedas. Brahma akshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma. Therefore, everything goes to the Brahma. Nityam yajna pratishtitam. Therefore, conduct yourself, conduct yajnas. And then, what else did we see last time? Let me see. Tasmad asaktas satatam. एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति इह यः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामः मोघं पार्थ सजीवति. Like this, the cycle goes on, and whoever participates in this cycle obviously is going to attain, is in the right path of moksha. But if you opt to not enter into this cycle, then you are only going to be getting stuck in your samsaric circle. And then yastvatmaratirev syat atmatruptascha manavah atmanyeva cha santushtah tasya karyam na vidyate. Whoever is yaha atmaratihi eva atmatruptaha atmani eva santushtaha. Whoever is able to rejoice within self, whoever is able to feel enlightened within self, who is not looking for entertainment outside, who is not looking for happiness outside, but is content within, he for sure is not doing anything, as in, is not actually conducting any actions which will yield result, and he'll therefore feel stuck here. That doesn't happen. So he's in the right path. नैव तस्य कृतेन अर्थः न कृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चित् अर्थव्यपाश्रयः. Okay, fine, we'll proceed. तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचार असक्तः हि आचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पुरुषः. So the one who conducts himself not being interested in worldly matters, as in he's not engaging unnecessarily in the worldly matters, he definitely is conducting himself in a very good way, nishkama karma. But on the other hand, somebody who is indulgent in entertaining through luxuries and sensory pleasure as such, so he's kind of stuck. Karmana iva hi samsiddhim astita janakadayah lokasangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. So that was the last sloka that we left at last time. So karmani eva hi samsiddhim astita janakadayah. So people like Janaka Maharaja, and people like him have excelled in practice of the nishkama karma. So having excelled, they have been, their main primary motive was loka sangraham. Loka sangraham is welfare of the loka, welfare of everyone, loka kalyanam. So make them as an example and inspire yourself, conduct yourself through Nishkama Karma. All right, so let's proceed from 21. यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते यत् यत् आचरति श्रेष्ठः तत् 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 एव इतरः जनः. This is a very important shloka. स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकः तत् अनुवर्तते. It basically is talking about leadership qualities and followers. Earlier, we had the example of karmanaiva hi samsiddhim astita janakadayaha. So if Janaka Maharaja was a leader, how in being steadfast and sincere in his practice, honest with his practice, he obviously becomes a leader to be followed. And the general tendency of people in the world is to follow a leader, because not everyone is creative, not everyone is original in what they can create. So a lot of people, a lot of us actually are followers. And it is but expected in this world to have leaders and to have followers. But if the leaders are actually kind of dharmic and they are actually shrestha, they are very really they're excelling in what they do, then naturally it is for the betterment of the world. Acharati means practice. Kaha acharati? Shreshtaha acharati, the one who is well respected person and excels in what he does. Yat yat shreshtaha acharati, whatever that shrestha practices, tat tat eva itaraha janaha acharati, that the other people also practice. Saha yat pramanam kurute, saha here is shreshtaha, and that leader, whatever he makes it as a testimony, he makes it as a template. Lokaha tat anuvartate, that template is followed by people blindly. Well, to a large extent, that is how followers are. So therefore, you can say that there is a lesson for the leader here. What kind of leader do we want? A leader who is actually sincere and honest and is worthy of following. But if the leader is misleading, and that tends to also lead to problematic followers. So this is an important lesson in that sense, to be reminding all the leaders to be sincere and truthful in their approach so that they do not mislead people. Ultimately, the accounts is all for the individual. If the leader is misleading, he is going to have a very miserable life and afterlives. There is no doubt about it. That is the way it works as per Karma Siddhanta. So he may be misleading people for his own benefit or for whatever mischievous tendencies. He is not going to be spared at all. But a Sreshta who is actually kind of conducting himself well, he is always going to be well rewarded, not only in this life, but in lives to come. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. न मे पार्थ अस्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन न अनवाप्तव्यं नानवाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं न अनवाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. हे पार्था, मे means mama or my. Who is saying that? It is obviously Krishna who is saying it. And this is also quite interesting. He's basically saying, you know what, I have nothing to do in this world. Actually, I'm not a karta, and that is how we understand Paramatma or Atma. Atma is not a karta, it doesn't do anything. It is only a bystander, it is only a witness. That is it. So, Paramatma really has no actions to do whatsoever, is what he's saying. Hey Partha, na me na mama trishu lokeshu kinchana kartavyam asti. In these three worlds, I have nothing to do. No duties, no responsibilities, no action to do. Nothing to do. Na anavaptam avaptavyam varta evacha karmani. There is nothing I need to obtain, nor is there anything that I don't have. Little contradictory it may sound, but what is saying is essentially I have everything. I am the Swami. I am the what should I say? Prabhu. I am the Prabhu. I am the Lord. I have everything. I don't need anything. So that is what it means. There is nothing I need to obtain, neither is there anything that I do not have. So therefore, I don't need to do anything, which is very much to be understood in the sense that whatever is to be done by humans is being done by the humans. It is not being instigated by Paramatma. He has no role to play in your life. Full stop. It is you as a human who is the reason why you are in the situation where you are in, and that is because of the karma siddhanta. So karma is the daiva here. Karma is the one which is actually making you do whatever you're doing, and it is for you to understand the karma and not do things which you will feel or get stuck with. Now, there is an interesting understanding that we have to develop here. Creation, Srishti, everything that is part of Srishti is obviously going to be the one to decide the rules. That which is not part of the Srishti is not going to play any role. So Paramatma has no role to play in the Srishti. Srishti is being designed and run through its existence without the need or the prameya of the Paramatma. And that is how there is no role for Paramatma to play. Of course, there will be some contradictions here in the sense that how can there be no role? Because there is Chaitanya, that Paramatma Chaitanya enters into everything that has been created. How can there be no role? So it enters into it, but the Srishti is run not by the Paramatma because Paramatma is Tri Guna Rahita, is not made up of the Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunas. And the creation is run and maintained by Sattva Rajas Tamo Guna. And whatever is being created by it is the one which is maintaining it, and the rules and the laws and the game is run by that. So therefore, again, Paramatma has no role apart from giving the electricity to the inert objects. So Srishti can be considered as, let's a nice example given, which is there are all the electric appliances lying in the room. There is a bulb, there is a fan, there is a light and lots of other things. They're all there. They've been created. They're there, but they run because of electricity. What are they made of? They are not made of electricity. They're not made of electricity. They're made by whatever material that has been used to make them. But electricity is giving them the required life to run, for the fan to turn and the light to glow. So hence Paramatma's role is nothing but giving that Chaitanya, the energy for them to function. So in that context, he has nothing to do at all. But he gives a very immediate warning and an alert. And this is again very important. यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्त्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. Earlier we understood what people are like. They are all followers. Whatever the leader does, they follow. If they do nice things, they follow. If they don't do nice things, they also still follow. यदि हि अहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मणि अतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मा अनुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः हे पार्थ सर्वशः. Varteyam, if I do not function. Now he's saying, earlier he doesn't need to function, but now he's saying, but he has no choice but to function. He'll explain why he has to function or he has to act. Aham yadi na varteyam, if I do not act, jatu karmani atandritaha. Let me just check what atandrita actually means so that I give you the right understanding. Atandritaha. Where is it? Alert. Alert. If it has to be alert. So, if he is not alert, he's saying what is going to happen is Mama Vartma. Vartma means my path. Mama means my, Vartma means path. Anuvartante, follow. Who follow? Follows Manushyaha, Sarvashaha. Sarvashaha Manushyaha Mama Vartma Anuvartante. So, hey Partha, remember that if I am not careful, Atandritaha in that sense is being careful, not alert, careful. If I am not careful, and if I do not function, although I do not have anything to do, my path will then be followed by people. And if I don't do anything, they also don't do anything. And earlier I've also already said that not doing anything is not your job description. You have to do. So if I say that you have to act and you can't sit idle, how can I be good leader if I sit idle? So I have to act as well. Now this applies to a king who has, let us say, abundance of everything in that kingdom. Such abundance, wealth, no illness, nothing to do. Nothing to do at all. The king doesn't really need to do anything. Everything is abundantly available. And let us assume that the king then only resorts to luxury. He just spends all his time in getting massages done or listening, just enjoying in pleasurable parties and feasts and so on. The people also will be doing the same thing. But then an alert king, he senses that this is not good for the welfare of a kingdom because not everything is permanent. And even if it is permanent also, There is something not right about being lethargic and indulgent in doing things which should not be done. Therefore, that king then deliberately would do nice things. Like, for instance, he exercises, he goes out on pilgrimages, or he goes out, meets people in public areas, and he also participates with them in certain public demonstration to at least kind of build social kind of responsibility. So he didn't really need to do any of these things because everything is abundant. But he's doing it because he understood that if he doesn't, then his subjects will also become quite inert and so on. And the point then is, if the subjects become inert, if all the people in the kingdom don't work, then where will the economy sustain? Economy won't sustain. The work can't be done and society won't run. So therefore, the same logic applies here for the large kingdom, the cosmic kingdom. In a way, you can say that if we don't perform our own individual actions, this universe itself will not sustain. The lokas will not sustain. There will be a lot of problems. So we are all interdependent and we have to function. Only when we function does this world run. उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्यामुपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः. उत्सीदेयुः इमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्याम् इमाः प्रजाः. So Utsideyuhu. I've explained already what tends to happen, consequences of not acting at all. So if he says na kuryam karma chet aham, aham yadi karma na kuryam, if I do not perform actions, lokaha ime lokaha utsideyuhu, these people will actually fall into difficulties. So even if it does not function, people will fall into difficulties. How does that happen? Sankarasya cha karta syam upahanyam imaha prajaha. Imaha prajaha tesham sankarasya basically means it will be a very corrupted society. It becomes corrupted. People become corrupted, the loka becomes corrupted. So therefore, Sankarasya cha karta syam upahanyam imaha prajaha. So I will be the reason why this corruption is going to happen. These people will get corrupted. So I cannot but not do anything. I have to do something. Okay. Upahanyam. Yeah, I will be the one to lead to difficulties of these people. So that I should not do. So there is a responsibility for me to fulfill, do actions, although I don't need to do them. Saktah karmanya vidvamsah yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvamstata saktah chikirshurloka sangraham. Saktah karmani avidvamsah yatha kurvanti bharata kuryat vidvams कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः विद्वान् कुर्यात् विद्वान् तथा असक्तः चिकीर्षुः लोकसंग्रहम्. Now he is giving a difference between two types of people. One who is indulgent in unnecessary actions, and another who is not attached to unnecessary actions. Saktaha means one who is attached to worldly pleasures and so on. Karmani. Karmani saktaha vidvamsaha. Karmani saktaha avidvamsaha. Those who are not skillful in practice of yoga or practicing what needs to be done properly. So those are avidvamsaha. Avidvamsaha saktaha karmani yatha kurvanti. Just as how those who are not skillful in practice of yoga get attached and indulgent in pleasurable activities, कुर्यात् विद्वान् तथा असक्तः चिकीर्षुः लोकसंग्रहम्. चिकीर्षुः विद्वान् कुर्यात् असक्तः. The one who is a pandita, as in one who is skillful in performing the yoga or the karma, the kind of karma that needs to be done, they are unattached, asaktaha. They are unattached. Unattached to what? Unattached to the fruits of the action, unattached to the idea that I am the reason why this is happening, or they are not indulgent in sensory pleasures. Lokasangraham, for them, therefore, welfare of the world itself is the most interesting aspect, most important. Chikir Shuhu. They are only interested. They're only interested in that aspect, that is of welfare of the world. Now, there is something interesting that is being mentioned here. Na buddhibedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidwan yuktas samacharan. I believe this is a very important lesson as well. These are all actually good leadership lessons, and certain things which have gone on in the world very wrongly and still carry on, which is mostly in the form of indulging in religious brainwashing and ideological brainwashing, confusing the person of their roots and making them leave their roots because they're told repeatedly that they're following primitive kind of forms of practice. And once they are confused like that, who is the who is the winner? The one who is brainwashing is not the winner, because he is unfortunately a fool himself, because he has not understood that world can exist in very different ways and not everything can be easily understood. So there is often this tendency that the so-called educated fool thinks he is a wise person. He is educated in only one way, which is possibly bookish knowledge, or how he can only see the world. And that educated person has this temperament or tendency to be intolerant towards the uneducated. Or the wise person, wise, of course, wise should not be used here. Wise one, somebody is wise, they understand that world is different enough for different people to coexist. So an educated fool is the one who has this tendency to look down upon uneducated. So na buddhi bedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. Now, earlier we understood that karma has to be fulfilled and followed in a way that you practice it with no attachment to the fruits of the action. and not to be thinking that you are the reason why this action is even happening, this world, as if you are the one who had created the car, for instance. Yes, you are the one who's created the car. But if you have this idea that the intuitions, the insights came to me through divine intervention, so I'm only an instrument through whom this beautiful company, the beautiful car had been manufactured. He's not egoistic anymore. So that is how it works. But a person who actually thinks that they are the one who is, they are the one who, because of which the world is running, or they need to enjoy the fruits, or they are the one to face the suffering because they need to take the blame for what has happened. So they are going through a roller coaster of emotions, only they experience, they suffer. But the wise person knows that they are unnecessarily kind of attaching themselves. But in this eagerness, if this guy who is learned goes and keeps taunting or telling him, you should not be practicing like this, you should not attach yourself to the fruits, come look at this is how it should be done, don't attach yourself, stay detached, you can teach him that, but is he in a position to understand it and practice it? Possibly not. Then what should this person do? Should he stop teaching? No, don't stop teaching that. You stop teaching it that way, but don't stop teaching altogether. How do you teach then? You set an example by conducting yourself in those principles. You need to practice them, and through your practice, you should be able to demonstrate the benefits of that particular method. And then when people actually see that themselves, they will automatically start appreciating it, and now they will be more convinced to understand and practice this principle. But not by just brainwashing them and confusing them. That is the most idiotic thing to do. This is how religious conversions have been taking place as well. So, na buddhi bedam, that confusion in the buddhi. Do not, please, janayet. Don't, don't create that confusion in the intellect. Because they are just doing what they are programmed to do. That is the only little bit they can understand, and they're just functioning. Ajnanam, in the unintelligent. Karma sanginam, those who attach themselves with the karma. How beautiful it is. On one side, he's actually teaching that karma has to be performed by not being attached, but he's also so kind of inclusive in saying that, look, not it's not everybody's cup of tea. Just accept that. So karma sanginam ajnanam buddhi bedam na janayet. Please don't do that. Please don't trouble them by confusing their minds for whatever they're doing. Let them do. Because at least doing something is better than not doing anything, is also we have learned. Joshayet sarvakarmani vidwan yuktaha samacharan. Vidwan yuktaha, applying that knowledge. Samacharan vidwan, by practicing continuously, applying that knowledge. Sarvakarmani joshayet. Sarvakarmani samacharan. Vidwan yuktaha sarvakarmani samacharan joshayet. By doing those actions, by putting into practice those principles, should inspire people for them to follow. How wonderful. These are all fantastic leadership lessons. How to do, how not to do. प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ता अहम इति मन्यते प्रकृतेः प्रकृतेः गुणैः क्रियमाणानि कर्माणि सर्वशः. You know, all these actions that we are talking about, and I said that I have nothing to do, right? I have nothing to do with your actions. Do you know who has anything to do with it? Prakriti, Srishti, the nature. It is the Prakriti which has everything to do with it. It has nothing to do with me, the Purusha. And of the Prakriti, what? Gunaihi, by the guna, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo guna. Kriyamanani karmani sarvashaha. All these actions are a result of the three gunas of the Prakriti. But ahankara vimudhatma, the one who is egoistic and thinks that he is the only person who is responsible for everything to be happening, he says to himself, Aham karta, I am the one who is doing it. And he is fooling himself by saying so, because it's actually the three gunas of the Prakriti which are the reason why a person is in this situation and doing something in this particular life, and so on. Tattva महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते तत्त्ववित् तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणाः गुणेषु वर्तन्ते, so vartanta changes to vartante, iti matva na sajjate. So earlier it was a fool who was thinking that he is the reason why things are happening and not realizing that it is the prakriti gunaha which is the reason. But a tattvavit, the one who is wise and aware of it, hey Mahabaho, O Arjuna, that person, he understands that it is the guna karma vibhaga yoho. The actions are a result of the karma siddhanta and the gunas, the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamo guna. It is because of the sattva, rajas, tamo guna and the karma siddhanta, the karma accumulated from the past lives. It is because of that that a certain action is happening. So gunaha guneshu vartante. So these three gunas, they actually end up playing a part in our individual's own characteristics. Iti matva na sajjate. So this having understood, he therefore doesn't get indulgent in actions. So he understands it. And then he basically functions accordingly is what it has to mean. Prakritir guna sammodhaha sajjante guna karmasu tan akritsna vidaha vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet. Prakritehe guna sammodhaha sajjante guna karmasu tan akritsnavidaha mandan kritsnavit na vichalayet. Guna sammudaha prakritehe guna karmasu sajjante. So guna sammudaha means, mudha means a fool. Because of these kind of the interplay of the gunas and the one who is actually fooling himself, what is he doing? This guna karma, so the actions that are being led by the guna and the karma of the Prakriti, he is entertaining the same and he's getting stuck in it. Okay. Tan akritsna vidaha mandan. So the ones who are unable to understand, akritsna vidaha, he is not able to understand. Let me just get to the right word so that we will know the better meaning. Akritsnavidaha and Kritsnavit. Kritsnavit is the one who is knowledgeable and the wise person. So let's see it. Prakritehe gunasammudaha. So the one who has been influenced by the guna, as we spoke earlier. Guna karmasu sajjante. So they get stuck in the functioning of the actions, which we already understood. That bit is fine. Tan akritsnavidaha mandan kritsnavit na vichalayet. Okay. Now I got it because there was slight confusion there. Yeah, it's an important one. So here there are two kinds of beings here, is what is being said. So the first sentence we clarified anyway, which is that those who are unable to understand, appreciate that it is the Prakriti's, the nature's work through its Sattva Rajas Tamo Guna and the Karma Siddhanta, not understanding it, the unintelligent are functioning or actively engaging in pleasurable activities or activities that only lead to being stuck in this samsaric chakra. So they are called akritsnavit. Akritsnavit would mean that akritsnavidaha, that means those who are having limited knowledge. Kritsna is unlimited. Kritsna. Akritsna is limited. So those who are having limited knowledge, mandan. So those who are dull, the direct translation is dull, slow. So those who are in that sense unable to decipher or understand the worldly affairs, that is the cosmic design, let us call it the cosmic design, is not understood by them. Kritsnavit na vichalayet. The one who is wise should not go and trouble them. Just the extension of what we have learned earlier. Because if you keep going and troubling them and taunting them, they will only be confused. The last thing the cosmos wants is, or anything wants, an organization also doesn't want, policy of paralysis. Nobody knows what is happening. There's a lot of confusion. As long as something is happening, at least something was happening until then. So that's why we keep saying, at least for now, let us maintain status quo until we have a better understanding. Why status quo? Because you just can't stop altogether, right? Inaction is not going to help us at all. So if this wise person goes and says, look, I've understood, you're all doing it wrong, please stop what you're doing, don't do this. But they don't know what else to do, how else to do, they don't know it. And that's a dangerous situation. So if they don't know what else to do, how else to do, and then you confuse them saying, no, you shouldn't do this, then it's an unfortunate situation. You are, as a leader, are definitely in a lot of trouble. So therefore, do not trouble them by confusing them and stopping them doing what they already know that they are doing. They are not wrong in that sense, because that is, they're doing it out of their limited knowledge. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्य आध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीः निर्ममः भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः. Just in case we have forgotten, or Arjuna had forgotten, or Krishna had forgotten that they are in a battlefield, this shloka is reminding us. So now he is almost like saying, he's summarizing once again, saying, therefore, please fight without vigata jvaraha, yudhyasva, please, not even, please, yudhyasva, fight, you fight. Vigata jvaraha, jvara is that fear, the fever basically. He has this fever of a lot of confusion. So vigata jvaraha, without any fear, let go, abandon that fear, abandon your fever and fight. How? Tvam vigata jvaraha yudhyasva. Okay. How? Bhutva, having done what? Bhutva, being something, he's saying. Being what? Nirmamaha. Don't think that you are the one, everything belongs to you. Nirmamaha. Mama is mine. Nirmama, not mine. So don't consider that anything here is yours. Neither the people are yours, neither the victory is yours, neither the loss is yours. So be that. Nirmamaha bhutva. Nirashihi. Don't have any desires, no expectations, no desires. So don't have desires, don't think this is yours. So basically, he's saying practice nishkama karma and then fight. How else? Adhyatma chetasa. Have the spiritual knowledge and fill up your mind with this beautiful knowledge that I have presented you with. You chetasa, with that mind which is filled with this eternal knowledge, which gives you clarity in mind, removes all the confusion. Sanyasya. Sanyasya, what sanyasya? Karmani sanyasya. Sarvani karmani sanyasya. Let go of all those actions that you don't need to worry about. Let go of all those things. In what? But let go is not about not doing anything. He is basically saying, Mai, in me. So it's almost like they have to be abandoned somewhere. Like, for instance, yesterday I was watching some movie. The bomb has to be dropped. That is as per the presidential instruction. It has to be followed. But the pilot now has a doubt, because of doubt has arisen out of new information. It's an outbreak movie called Outbreak. So Dustin Hoffman is in an helicopter, and the flight is in the aeroplane is coming towards this particular town to drop a bomb because they're all infected. And Dustin Hoffman says, look, we actually have found the serum, and the serum is actually going to help everybody. Perhaps we've just started the work, and it may help people in 24 hours. So bombing now will only make things worse. And not just that, we will lose the serum as well that can protect people. But the instruction has to be followed by the president. I mean, presidential instruction has to be followed by the pilot. So they go and drop that bomb in the sea next to it, and they basically say, yeah, the bomb has been dropped, but unfortunately, because of the winds, it got drifted away and fell into the waters. So it's like that. Somewhere it has to be dropped. If you're asking to let go of the actions, let go where? Because you're saying continue to do. Inaction is not expected. I have to do things. So therefore, in me, you release those actions into me, or in other words, perform them as if they are being done for me. So perform all those actions for me. Fill up your mind with all this beautiful spiritual knowledge. Have no desires. Conduct yourself as nothing belongs to you and fight without any fear. Is what he had said, and we will stop here because we do 10 shlokas every session, right? So we'll stop here.